Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandon Danielle.
What's up, Great Girlfriends? How y'all doing out there?
I know. I feel like I missed the Great Girlfriends. I feel like we need to have like a meetup.
We need a meetup. It's been a minute. First of all, we, as in you and I, need a meetup. I ain't seen you in like, how many weeks has it been?
Probably one, Sybil.
Oh, it's too long. I can't. I miss Brandon, y'all. We've been on the phone every day. Like we haven't been in person. It's not the same when we're not in person.
The last time we saw each other was at Tiffany Warren's barbecue birthday party.
That's right. Okay, so that was like 3 weeks ago. All right, let me get my mind right.
Ago.
Sorry. Okay. All right.
You're a mess. So
Brandis is addictive, y'all.
Sybil is a baby child, y'all. And y'all know this, right? I'm the middle child.
Baby. I don't get enough time. Yeah. I start itching. I'm like,
And see, the middle kids, we're used to not getting any time, so we're just good
with it. Y'all just deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just want to acknowledge on behalf of Crystal, I'm sorry what being the middle, has done to you and how it's affected you as a middle child. I just want to apologize for Crystal because now we understand more.
Crystal will actually be here. Crystal is my little sister. For those of you who don't know, I have two sisters. I'm in the middle, Tara and Crystal. Crystal will be here tomorrow. I'm excited because you know what, though? Y'all little baby kids, y'all get things done.
We don't. We work hard. We just want to be loved. We want to fit in. We want to prove ourselves. Y'all make us work for our position.
Oh, you are crazy.
I'm still trying to just be accepted by my sisters. Can they just acknowledge that I'm here?
Minthia, please.
They still try to act like I don't exist.
I see them both I'm going to give you side eyes for both of your sisters right now. For both of them. So how is Black Enterprise? You got to tell me. I know you've given me, actually, Sybil, you've given me the download you gave me earlier, gave me butterflies.
Did it? Okay, girlfriend. So guess what? This past weekend, first of all, happy belated Laborless Day weekend to all of you. Oh, my gosh. Brandis and I luxuriated all weekend. That's all we did.
We did.
That's all we did. I mean, I did some work luxuriation, and Brandis did some celebratory luxuriation.
Yeah,
so
it was wonderful.
So I went to the Black Enterprise Golf and Tennis Challenge, to represent Prudential in a spa experience there to help the women there kind of talk through self-care. And so the discussion was really awesome. It was myself, LaToya Dennis from Motivated Moms, and Yvonne McNair, who is a fantastic event producer and the founder of Captivate Marketing Group. And we had so much fun, Brandis. Not that you weren't missed, because you were missed like in every way. You were so missed. I mean, when I tell you, I can hardly get words together, girl. You were missed. You were missed.
But I knew you were holding it down for the Great Girlfriends. So
I was holding it down. I was like, Brandis is going to be so proud of me. Oh, my gosh. So, so we had a really great conversation on self-care. But right after, Prudential is so dope for really diving so deep into self-care, from taking care of mind, body, and spirit, drawing the bridge to how that aligns to you understanding and acknowledging your self-worth, and how when you have acknowledged or have identity around your self-worth, you're able to make long-term decisions that help influence your legacy. And that was the conversation that we had over at the event. So right after that conversation, Prudential just, sponsored this deep dive spa experience. There were back rubs, paraffin treatments, a beauty corner. There was henna. There was a DJ. There was food. There was a spiritual advisor. There was all types of just activity stations to really help women nurture themselves and pamper. And that's really, I felt so great, because that is the type of company that Prudential is, in terms of helping you to create the vision for who you want to be, but also supporting it. And so that event was fantastic. Special thanks to Dorinda Walker for inviting the girlfriends to be there and trusting us, half the duo, to do the job, in a way that It was great. Now tell me about that wedding, girl, because
Girl,
I was
I could do
dreaming.
one of those back rubs right now.
I know, I know. Don't you need a vacation after vacation? You'd be like, all right, I need to
Let me
go to the
tell you
spa.
something. First of all, I'm looking at my legs. They are glowing.
Are they? That tan
I
was
am
real.
feeling myself right now.
I
This tan
love
is
it.
so real. My legs were looking so cute.
That's what's up.
Girl, if
And
I
y'all
had
know
this
she
tan
thinks she got
all
the
year
hottest
round,
legs in the business, so
I
she was
do.
definitely. Brandon thinks her legs are fine, so
I might
she's
not
feeling
have no
that glow.
butt, but I got legs. All good.
Listen, whatever the asset may be, you have to work it. So
I'm
you work those
rocking it.
legs. You
And
do
girl,
have
let
great
me
legs,
tell you,
though.
with this tan, oh, anywho. So I just spent time relaxing. Like, it was so good. Went there for one of our great girlfriends, Cynthia Kahn, married Jerry Pennant, and it was absolutely beautiful. Rich was a groomsman, and he looked so cute in his tux. And
awesome.
it was so funny because, like, half the pictures through my my camera was of Rich. I was
That's
like,
so
oh,
funny.
Lord.
You can't even show your album. People like, who else was there? Where's the bride?
So
Where's the groom?
But it was absolutely stunning. Her mom made her wedding dress, and it was beautiful. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of relaxation. Every day I was there, I had 3 questions. Am I going to go get something to eat? Am I going to go to the pool and get something to eat there? Or am I going to go to the beach?
Wow. I love those 3. Those are great questions to ask.
And I did work. I had to work because Fashion Week is this week, but it's different when you're working and you're like in a pool, like you're in a cabana. It's a totally different situation. So it was fantastic. We had a great time. Yeah. We had a great time. I got a lot of clarity. Sky was with her granny. And let me tell you, this little girl, so I hadn't seen her in, 4 days?
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking I'm going to go over there and get her and get this, like, grand, oh, I'm so happy to see my mommy smiling. And, girl, please. She did reach for me, thank goodness. But when I tell you, Sky did not crack a smile.
What? She like, get over here.
Girl,
where you been?
For a long time. She was just like, where you been?
Oh.
But she had the best time. She apparently got very spoiled while she was with her granny and her aunt and her cousin. And then her great aunt came over to visit. She had another cousin come over to visit, so she went from hand to hand.
Wow. That's so awesome. That's the thing this weekend. I had my kids in the village. We don't have any family up here, so special shout out to my village because they went night by night. Each one of them had the kids one night.
Who were they with? Lisa?
So Thursday night, no, actually Lisa was out of town. So Thursday night they were with Nicole. Friday night they were with their Uncle Kyle. Saturday night they were with their Uncle Kareem. And then Sunday they were with Deandra and Ronald and Nikisha.
Girl, let me tell you something. The village is serious.
Yeah. You
it
need a village.
So real. Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shout out to my village. I love them dearly. Meanwhile, I think Dorinda may have been trying to get me pregnant this weekend. I'm going to tell you why.
What?
I forgot to tell you this earlier. Love you, Dorinda, but Dorinda going to send to our room some champagne, chocolate-covered strawberries, and like all these different treats. I was like, she is not trying to sabotage my legacy plan.
That's hilarious.
What is going on?
But y'all really should have one more.
Girl,
I'm just
please.
saying. Dylan needs a little sister.
I'll tell you on a slick tip, drop Dylan off in the classroom today, and whatever that chemical, that mother chemical is that make you like, oh, I should have another one, it slid through my bone. It passed out my big toe, but it slid through. I was like, oh, my gosh. What? Because I don't have any more babies. Like, everyone's a legit kid now.
So, but Dylan really does. Dylan's going to grow up not knowing what having a sister feels like. Can you imagine that feeling?
Yeah, I can. She wouldn't make a good middle child.
Ooh,
she's like,
Dylan,
right. She's the close to the show. That's like, and the winner is, She is not runner up to
No,
anybody. She is.
Dylan would kill that middle child role though.
Girl, that baby will have it bad. I'm gonna leave it just like it is.
All right.
I
So what are
am.
we talking about today?
Well, before we get into that, I just want to acknowledge that I did a really great job keeping the Instagram current this weekend, and you did a horrible job.
I didn't.
That's all I want to say.
I posted
couldn't even live through your
pictures.
Instagram. You posted, Brandon. Who knows what happened between those two pictures? I don't. The girlfriends don't. All I saw is you and Rashida laughing at some unknown destination, and then you and Rich in the airport. What does that mean? If you guys are following at Brandis Daniel, I want you to email us and tell her to get busy on the Instagram so we can know what's going on.
I gotta do better. But you did do a great job. Sybil's Instagram is at Sybil_Amuti, MUMAMUTI, and you did a great job, Sybil. I gotta get it together.
You got to get it together. But the pictures were cute, but it was only two. I was like, she would do this. Anyway, pen and paper, girlfriends, pen and paper. Class is now in session, y'all.
It's now. This is gonna be good. Oh my goodness,
this is gonna be good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Y'all, I'm telling you, revelation from God. If you are a believer in God, you know what it feels like to get good revelation from Him. It's just like it gives you clarity, it challenges you, it convicts you, but it also, it ignites you, it gets you ready, right?
Yes, girl.
So today we're talking about taking flight, and Brandis has our title, so I'm going to let Brandis drop that title.
Oh, Lord, Sybil. It's time to take flight.
It's time to take flight. Come on, people. It's time to take flight.
It is time to take flight. This is so good.
It is. And I feel like some people are already at their cube going, ouch.
Already. They already
in fact,
there.
I think we said enough, so let's just thank our
It is time to take flight.
It's time to take flight, y'all.
Yeah,
it's time.
Absolutely.
So this one is, when I say fresh rhema, it is fresh rhema from heaven, from God. And I consider that like infinite wisdom that comes from our God source. So I just want to say, I hope you listen very clearly, and I hope you take away from this everything that we have, because Brandis and I talked through this morning, and both of us felt very, very pierced by this. And basically, we'll start out. God was really, I was having a conversation with God, put it like that, and then God started talking to me. And in this conversation, and Brandis and I started digging deeper into taking flight and what it means to take flight and what it feels like to actually take flight. And so we started talking, and I was saying, Brandis, whether or not a plane ever leaves the ground, it's still a plane, right?
Yeah.
So whether or not, a Gulfstream or a sport plane or a business jet, whether or not it ever leaves the ground, it's still a plane. And when you look at all the power that sits inside of a plane, you've got the engine power to hit, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of feet of altitude in the air, and to glide through clouds and to fly over, war and circumstance and cities and people and small things and big things and everything that's happening on land. You actually can fly above it when you're a plane. Now, whether or not you ever do that, you're still a plane. Isn't that something?
So true.
So a plane is still a plane. Whether or not a plane ever flies at its highest altitude, it's still a plane. But God was also got wings, everything.
Engine?
Everything. Fully loaded, full capacity. Yep. But God was saying to me, explaining to me how, in this analogy, for example, when I get on the plane, girlfriends, I can barely buckle before I go to sleep. I don't last a good 5 minutes on a plane.
Right.
I don't know about any of you, but I get on the plane, I locate my seat on the plane, I buckle in, I put my stuff under the chair, I barely hear the instructions from the flight attendant, and I'm out. Or sometimes I might do work or whatever be the case. But when I do so, I can say in the history of my flying, and that's been a long, probably 30 years of flying in the air, I've never gone to the pilot and asked, even gotten the pilot's name before we took flight and said, "Hi, I'm Sybil. What's your name?" you know.
Right.
And how exactly are you going to fly this plane? Take me through your
Right.
20 steps to get this plane off ground. Show me how you're going to get me from, New York to Dubai. How are you going to do that? Because that's really far, and I've never been to Dubai. So how are you going to manage to do that from JFK? Tell
Yes.
me, how much fuel it takes. Tell me what sacrifices we're going to have to make in the air. Tell me where the turbulence will be so that I can know that we're
Yes.
going to get there safely. I never,
Yes.
ever do that. All
Mhm.
I do is sit my butt down on that I don't even get the flight attendant's name. I don't say, hey, girl,
Right.
what's your name? Because I know you're here to help the pilot. So let me learn your name because you got to be third in command should something go wrong. I never even get her name or his name. I just go sit down. I go to sleep or I do whatever I choose to do. And then, hours later, I arrive at this destination. And as sure as I can think of it, I'm gone from JFK to Dubai. I'm in a totally new territory. I've flown thousands of miles unknown. I don't even know for sure. They tell me which way they're going. I trust it because I'm not there to
Right.
guide it. That pilot is there. So then God was showing me all this, and He was showing the amount of trust that it takes to be on a plane and even to be a plane. But to guess what? What happens when we're in a relationship with God and He's the pilot? What
Yep.
happens? It's a
Yep.
totally different experience. We up there, Lord, is pilot, Jesus, Lord, is it you?
Yep.
Can you hear me? I'm just checking in. You told me I'm supposed to be going to X, Y, and Z. You told me that I was going to do this great thing. You told me I had a destination, but I don't see it. Are we still going? It's taking a long time. You said you're going to
Right.
do it.
I'm feeling.
I can't.
I'm feeling some turbulence.
Right, I'm feeling turbulence. So maybe we should turn this plane around because
Right.
I'm feeling some turbulence, and you didn't tell me it was going to be turbulence. Or better yet, how long before we land this plane, or what do you have to do to get this plane through the air? What kind of
Right.
assistance, and what does the assistance look like, and who should I be on the lookout for? What's the flight attendant's name again? Because I need to look out for the people that are going to assist me as I get to my destination. We do all of that when it's God as the pilot. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
It's
It's
insane.
insane.
And it's like I felt like when I was having this, dialogue with God, and God was kind of showing this to me, I really felt like it was like it felt like a pain point almost in saying like, wow, you trust these people, you trust this natural pilot who you've never known, you've never seen, he's never done anything for you. You don't know anything about his history. You don't even know if he's passed a drug and alcohol test. You assume it,
You know
but me,
anything?
yeah, you don't know anything. But me, I've done everything. Everything. And you have a hard time trusting me and giving me blind faith. And so what I reckon, from that entire analogy, girlfriends, and it's really tough for some of us to kind of settle with like, yikes, whether or not I ever, ever, ever take flight, I actually have the capacity of a plane. Like I have that ability. And God is my pilot. And I can leave God on ground, or I can really super soar this thing and make it to my destination or whatever my set stops are. Because sometimes, we can't even get to point A to get to B to get to C and so forth to land to our ultimate calling in life because we don't even trust enough to do the basics.
The very basic.
The basics.
Make the phone call.
Make the phone call.
Send the email.
Right. And it's one of those things where, we think we trust, but then we look at all the ways in the natural that we trust when we're on a plane versus when we're on a plane with God, and how we do our check-ins. And we do our check-in prayers because we're like, dear Lord, it's me, Sybil, again. Hey, I know you said you promised this thing to me, and you said you never leave me nor forsake me, but I'm feeling forsaken. And I'm praying this prayer to kind of urge God along and to remind
Mhm.
him of the thing that he said when his promises are real. They're true. He really will not break a promise. It's impossible for him to do so.
Right. And
So go ahead, Brandis.
mhm. No, and I was going to say even sometimes it's in a manipulative way.
Exactly.
Sometimes we can go to him telling him that here are all the things you said, here's all the things you shown me, but it's not true trust. It's really kind of
Exactly.
the way you can kind of manipulate a human. You can say, hey, now you
Yeah.
told me you were going to do this. You've done this, this, and this for me in the past, so I assume you're going to be good to me again,
Right. You
which
got me,
is just
right?
total
You got
manipulation. Yeah.
Yes. You still
And
got me on the
control.
thing. Right.
Yep.
And it's almost like how a kid nags his mom. My kids can come to me and they'll ask me something. I say yes. They'll come back to me if they haven't seen it fast enough, and I'll say, do you trust me? If you trust me, you're gonna have to settle in your heart that mommy's yes is a yes. You cannot keep coming back to me. What it communicates to me is that you don't trust me, and you're going to have to trust
Mm.
me. But that's what we do.
Mm.
We do it to manipulate. So we really wanted to, girlfriends, for you dive into, what it means when we stay on ground. Why is it that we stay on ground? What's true about us as planes, as women and men who are listening, who are destined to take flight, and how do we take flight? The first thing that we know is that when we're a plane that's destined to take flight, but we're sitting on ground, many times it's tied to fear. What does flight look like?
Absolutely.
It's an unknown territory. I feel uncertain about what it's going to take to do that. I'm afraid I don't qualify. I'm afraid that I might crash. I'm afraid
Mhm.
that I'm afraid. I'm straight up afraid that I'm going to get out there and crash. And we've talked about this before, about being afraid of success and being afraid of failure. But the fear of the unknown is what ties it. Brandis, you can hit number two.
Absolutely. Number two is just simply not trusting God. I mean, we
Yeah.
say we trust him and we know what he's told us and we even know what he's done for us in the past. Like, we honestly have like an encyclopedia full of books. He did this when we were 9, he did this when we were 10. He did these 3 things. Like, we have like these books of miracles that God has done in our life over and over, but we still
Mhm.
don't completely trust him.
It's true. It's true. We haven't
Because this is a
cultivated
new
any trust.
situation. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
new situation. And
Yeah.
so, we don't know. He
Yeah.
can do those things with those other situations, but this is something different. So we
Right.
just
Or
have a
this
hard
seems this
time
seems
trusting.
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But
how
what's funny is sometimes we trust him with the big stuff, and then when it comes to the smaller stuff, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we trust him with the bigger things, and when it comes to the smaller things, we don't trust.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
The other reason that we could, that we're typically planes on ground that need to take flight, but have problems taking flight, is because we want control of everything. Being so controlling and wanting to make sure that it's done our way and making sure that it's perfect, and feeling like without our control it's not going to get done, and questioning whether or not anybody else qualifies to do anything for us, and feeling like if we don't have control, we don't have any power, when our true power comes from acknowledging God as the control, you know? So that wanting to
Absolutely.
control everything and not resting and submitting and trusting in God, a big issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I would say number 4 would be thinking too small. So some of us are full on planes, but we don't we don't act like we're full on planes. We're like, I'm okay. I know I'm a plane, but I'm just gonna hang out down here. I know I
Yeah.
have the ability to fly, but instead of flying, it's just a lot more comfortable being on the ground.
Right.
A lot
I'm
more
gonna take a tour
comfortable.
bus.
Like I can see everything. Right. I can see everything. My friends are all down here. I can holler at them. I can see other people when they, go up on the plane, and when they come down, I can see them. Like,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
enjoy being on the ground. Like
Yep.
thinking way too small and being okay. That's the messed up part.
Yeah.
Being okay with thinking small.
Yeah. Yeah, and the last one is, it's a straight up identity crisis. Do you even know who you are? And that's so big, because when you know who you are, when you know what the capacity that God has given you is, and when you can kind of see that, and how that is meant to navigate on earth, taking flight is a matter of when, Lord. It's not a matter of whether or not. It's a matter of when. So that struggle with, who am I? Do I qualify? Am I inferior to others? Does it mean that, basically, Beyonce is meant to take flight, or and this person's not, or Oprah's meant to take flight, but the great girlfriends are meant to just be a podcast, or HFR can't do this, or Legacy Road can't do this. We can't do it because we don't know who we are. Psych, but that's a
Right.
big challenge. Is do you even know who you are?
Do you know that you're a plane? Do you know
Right.
that you're a plane? Do you know that you have wings? Do you know that you
Mm-mm-mm.
have an engine?
Do
Like,
you know you
do
have a
you
pilot?
know? Right? Do you know? Do you know? You might not even know that you're a plane.
Right, right. Do you even know? Do you know? Do you have any idea of what? Oh my goodness! And that ties right into what's true about us. What is true about us as women, as men, as humans? Like, what is it that God wants us to know? And the first thing is that we're all designed as God's great creation. But we some of us play small, consequently, leaving our hopes and dreams on the table, on the ground. On the ground, excuse me. We are all designed as God's great creation. Not one of us is better than the other.
Yes. None of us.
Not one of us. Each one of us is great. Each one of us has intricate details. Each one of us has capacity. Each one of us has the ability to take flight.
Absolutely. And we all have God as a pilot. Now we might decide not to lean on him, but we all have that available to us.
Yeah.
So we all have a pilot that's at our disposal. Like, not at our disposal. That's but we all have a pilot that's available to us.
That's right. That's waiting on us to call on him.
Sitting in a plane, about to take a nap because you've been waiting so doggone long for you to hop in this.
Right, right. You're not even acknowledging the pilot. We up there pressing buttons, trying to make things go, and God's sitting there like, "Now I got all the tools. I know all the directions. I have the manifest in my hands. But you want to come up here and try to control my plane, child, please."
Exactly. Or got the plane sitting so long. Don't have the plane sitting so long on ground that it runs out of gas on ground.
Yeah,
That's
on
horrible.
ground. On
How you
ground.
out of gas and you ain't been nowhere?
That is so true. That's so true. And the other truth that we know is that we're all destined to take flight, but some may never do so. So let's be clear. We're all great creations. We all have a pilot, and we're all meant to take flight. Not one of us is meant to take flight over the other. We're all meant to take flight. It doesn't mean that everyone will do it, but we're all meant to take flight. And so that for us are what we describe as truths, because there are a lot of fallacies that say, well, maybe your circumstances will prohibit you, or it's going to take you, maybe God forgot about you, maybe he's forsaken you, or maybe it's not meant for you. Maybe you're dreaming too big.
That's true, but I think it's because some people want the pilot to come and pick them up, put them on their back, force them force them to realize they're a plane.
Yeah.
Like hold them down, buckle them in. Like, no, it ain't happening. Nobody's coming to put you on their back. Like, you want to fly, you got the wings, you fly, but don't sit back and wait for the pilot to literally like almost have to, fight you in order for you to realize who you are, because that's not happening.
Isn't that something? And that's just like, a lot of people will, Brandis, they wait on confirmation. I got to get confirmation from this person
for 20 years.
This thing, and I'm waiting on confirmation when God has already confirmed it. He already confirmed it. There are no two of us that have the same fingerprint, footprint, DNA.
That's
for a reason.
Years.
Yeah.
It's
I've been
true.
waiting 20 years. Look,
I know people in my life who's had a dream that I have heard, maybe not 20 years, but I've heard it for 10 years. 15 years you've been saying this is what you want to do. So, I mean, like, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
You got the wings, you got the pilot, you're fueled up, you're ready to go. What are you waiting on?
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue into it. How do you take flight? How do you take flight? Because a lot of people say, all right, you talking all this smack. You sitting here telling me that I'm not a bus, I'm a plane. on a plane. You're sitting here telling me that this average life or that this complacency that I've been feeling or dealing or living in is not my standard. You're telling me that I'm living below my standard, right, girlfriends? And y'all sitting here trying to tell me that there's more for me. How do I take flight? Brandis, how do you take flight?
I think the first thing is you have to surrender. And that sounds almost counterintuitive, right? Like, how do I fly and surrender at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to surrender because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Mm-hmm.
The ride just might not be smooth, and you have to be willing to face whatever you're going to face to take flight. So, the takeoff is the hardest part always. The amount of energy a plane has to expend in order to just get off the ground. It's a lot. So I think you have to surrender. That is the first piece. All right, God, this is what I'm supposed to do. All right, I'm surrendering to this thing. All right, I'm supposed to write a book. All right, I'm going to surrender to that. All right, I'm supposed to start a business. I'm going to surrender to that. All right, I mean, first surrendering to Him. That's first.
Yeah.
And then surrender to the God-given idea He's given you. And that part of surrendering is also deciding.
Yeah.
So that surrender piece is so important. When you surrender, you have your hands up, right? So we talked about control. So that means that you're not trying to control it. You got your hands up. You're ready to fly.
That
I
is
think
so
that
good.
is the absolute number one thing.
That is so. I love it. I love it. It reminds me of our great girlfriend journey and how we just said, Lord, this is all you. And every day, girlfriends, we pray these prayers, and we just ask that God just show us and use us. And He really has taken. He is the pilot of the great girlfriends. Trust
Absolutely.
us. Trust us when we say God is the pilot, but that's surrender. Because Lord knows, Brandis and I have both built businesses. We're capable of building and designing and framing the way we want to, but God said, do it this way. So that's that. The second one, very good, Brandon, is acknowledging that you really want to fly. Sometimes people just pretend that they don't want to because it's hard for us to accept the what ifs behind me saying, you know what, I really do want to fly. I really don't want to be average. And that could mean embarrassment. That could mean shame, humiliation. Imagine being the only one flying at night in the dark, but you have a pilot who knows his way through the darkness.
Yeah.
But imagine how lonely that plane can feel at the highest altitude. There's not many planes up there. There's not many other planes up there. And in fact, there can only be a certain number of planes at a certain altitude anyway to level out the air. So it's kind of interesting that, sometimes we can negotiate with ourselves on whether or not we even want to take flight.
Yes.
But acknowledging that you really want to fly and saying, you know what, God, I do, maybe my whole life I've been told that I'm this, I'm that, or I'm less than, or that I never will, or it's impossible. Everything's impossible. Where everybody around me has been so negative. I don't believe that stuff. I actually believe that there's something more for me. I can't see it, but I want to acknowledge that I really do want to discover or explore what else there is for me. That's a really big moment.
It's huge because it holds you. It then holds you accountable to yourself.
Girl,
you're now accountable. So sometimes it's easier not to say it because once we've said it, once we've acknowledged it and we've said it, now we have something to be accountable to.
That's right. That's right.
So we're afraid to say it.
Yep.
But it's so important to say.
It is. It is.
And say it to everybody, I say.
Yes. Say it to everyone. Yep. And find out who's going to be the resource to help you fly. Who's your flight attendant?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that.
You're one of my flight attendants. Boom, pow.
Absolutely. And I'll say the third one is just accepting your identity as an airplane. Like, just accepting who you are. Because sometimes, I remember people used to tell me when I was younger that I wasn't a good writer. like all the time. Like I always heard that I wasn't a good writer. I wasn't a good writer. My writing sounded like I was having a conversation with you, right? Because back in
Mhm.
the day, people love more kind of formal writing, but guess what kind of writing is
Mhm.
in style in 2016? The
Right.
writing that sounds like somebody is talking to you. And
Mhm.
so I remember changing. I wrote a book before. I changed the entire format of the book because of what people told me.
Wow.
And I regret it because I wish I had have just done it the way that God told me to do it in the first place. I wish I had realized that I was an airplane and that I could fly
Mhm.
being an author. So sometimes you have to almost ignore everything people have said about you your entire life and go out there and just do it.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of airplane God has told you you are, that's between you and him.
That's
And
right.
don't run it past everybody else to make sure to have everybody tell you, girl, yeah, you a jet. Girl, yeah, you a Boeing.
Like I
Girl,
only
yeah,
see you.
you don't need that.
Right.
Yeah,
I
somebody be like,
only
I
see you
don't
as a
see you.
turboprop. But that is so true. It's so true. And you know what helps with that? When you accept your identity and when you acknowledge, and not just accepting, like, again, not saying that buses are bad, but I think I'd rather be a plane than being a bus. I just do. So, accepting this greater identity, it helps you to
Yes,
stop comparing yourself to people who you already think are great, right? So it's like, I think
right,
I'm great too. So I'm amongst
right.
greatness instead of comparatively saying, these people are better than me, therefore there is more available to them than there is for me. When you accept your
Absolutely not.
identity, it doesn't matter if you're a twin engine or a sport plane or turboprop, whatever type, because you recognize there's greatness in whatever type you are, instead of it being a
Absolutely.
comparison that says I'm inferior to another because I'm not even what they are. You know what I
Right,
mean? And so
right.
it makes it easy for you to look people in the eye. It makes it easy for you to negotiate, on your behalf, even when God's telling you strange numbers, and you're like, God's telling me to do the strangest thing. Well, that's because it's for you to do, and He's giving you that based on your identity. I think I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
I love it.
Brandis and I are both Christian, and whether or not you're Christian, we still believe that God is real and that His Word is real. So I love how Michael Hyatt, Brandis, when he talks about Scripture, he describes it as ancient wisdom. For those who don't believe in Christ as their Savior, that's fine, but you all know that wisdom is real, right?
Right.
So we have three reference scriptures that we love that accompany this entire message. And the first one is Proverbs 3:5 and 6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart," and that ties directly into the surrender. It says, "And do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all that you do, and He will show you which path to take." Isn't that a great pilot? That's what a great pilot does.
That's a great pilot. That is a great pilot. And one of my a verse that I said, what is that called? Ancient wisdom,
Ancient wisdom.
ancient reading.
Ancient wisdom for those who don't believe. Yes.
So ancient wisdom, or scripture that I said all while I was growing up, and I believe that this has impacted my life in
Mhm.
ways that I can't even begin to describe. Is for God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of
Mhm.
power, of love, and of a sound mind. Because one of the things
Yeah.
that keep that plane from taking flight is fear.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
we've we've gone four steps ahead thinking of, okay, this could go wrong, and then if that goes wrong, this can go wrong, and then if that goes wrong, this can go wrong, and if this can go wrong, then that can go wrong. Oh my God, then that can go wrong. Oh
Yeah.
my God, forget this. I'm not keep this plane right here. Like, really? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. We do all of that. We do
But
all of that, and it's
what if
horrible.
we do this and this goes right, and then if this goes
Mhm.
right, then that goes right, and if that goes right, then that goes right, and if that goes
Yeah.
right, it changes like 3, 4 generations for me.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. Total
Like,
game changer.
yes,
Total game changer. And the last one is Jeremiah 1:5, which says, "I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart. and appointed you as my prophet to the nations, which says to me, I already had a plan. I had a destination. I had acknowledged and set and identified you as special, as dynamic, as amazing, as unique, as peculiar, as extraordinary, as fabulous, as as a unique human, as one of my best creations. And I've given you something specific to manage or deliver as a vessel to the world, like as a global
Right.
citizen. I think that is so dope. So dope,
So
because that
dope.
says whether or not you ever know it or acknowledge it, I have a plan for you. But
Right.
it goes back to that surrender, releasing the fear,
Right.
trusting God, acknowledging and accepting your identity.
Absolutely.
Now, if you want to send an offering, um,
Because let me
oh
tell
my
you, the
God.
great girlfriends, y'all know all of y'all are like, ouch, 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 and ouch. Because every one of
Ouch.
y'all are doing something, including myself, sitting,
Yeah,
there's a place in my life where I need to take flight. All
exactly.
of us have it. We're not,
Yeah,
it's not just you guys. We all have, maybe you're taking flight in one area, but you're not taking flight in another area.
that's right. That's right. That's
Because
right.
our
Which
great
then
girlfriends,
lowers.
they'll kill it. They'll kill it
I
in their
know.
career, but no, honey, I'm not. I'm not trusting no man. No, no, no.
Right. And
I
it
ain't gonna
lowers
take flight in love.
your total altitude. So it's like you can't even get to your highest height. You only reaching a portion of your destiny, and that really sucks. And I know because so many of our listeners are achievers and aspirational, you don't want to leave anything on the table. You don't want to ever
Nothing
get
on the
to
table.
the destination and realize you could have had more if you had just surrendered and accepted and acknowledged who you are and what you're capable of and like what God
Yes,
has really gifted us. We're gifted. We are gifted to
yes,
be women in this season that we're women, with the liberties that we have and the capacity. How dare us bring ancient fears forward, that say, well,
right. And
it's hard. Yeah, it's going to hurt a bit, but you're going to get there, you know?
absolutely. And can you imagine how just ticked off you would be if you're like 80 years old
Oh,
in a bed because you're sick, you can't get up, and you realize you never took flight? Honestly,
exactly.
y'all just might as
Oh.
well unplug my tube because I'm depressed.
You're like, I don't even want my jello today.
Oh
I
my,
don't want my jello. I'm sad.
I can't even think. I can't even think of what that must feel like. But the truth is that there are people in nursing homes right
Yep.
now regretting places in their lives where they never took flight.
Yep.
And guess
Yep.
what, Auntie? Not too late for you. Don't
Not
want to
too
hear your
late.
excuse of I'm
Not
56,
too
I'm
late.
66. No, we know y'all listen. So
We know
no,
y'all
not too
listen.
late for you.
Not too
Yes,
late, because
I'm
God has not
talking to
forgotten,
you.
and He hasn't forsaken, and He doesn't lie. He does not lie. He doesn't
Right.
lie. We lie, but He doesn't lie. He does not. So if
No.
He said it, it's because it's meant to be manifested and performed, and it's meant for us to do it at a certain level, a certain height. But we gotta be able to trust our pilot. I've decided this last year was one of the best years of my life. I relinquished all of my rights to control of where my life and career was going. Let me tell you how confused my mind was. So, I told you. I was like, Brandis, some days I just don't know. I can't see clear. But I kind of
Yeah.
retrospectively, those foggy days were days that I was just flying at an altitude that he was completely carrying me. It's almost like that footprints, that poem back in that old poem that most of our
Mhm.
mothers and aunts love, because it was girlfriends, excuse me, over the last year. You guys know if you've listened throughout the podcast, I transitioned from a very high paying, high profile position into my own consulting strain because God was telling me to go. But what I now know He was telling me was, let me be pilot. Let me be
Yes.
pilot. Let me get you to the altitude you need to get to. Let me be pilot. Stop trying to control. Girl, get out my way.
Because you won't know. Sybil, whatever you
You'll
see
never know.
Thursday, I have no
Girl.
idea. It's
I
gonna be
know, I'm
God.
so
When
excited.
I
I
tell you I have
know.
no idea, I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't even have a glimpse of what it looks like.
Wow.
I really don't.
And that's something.
I am so soaring right now. I have no idea. I had to totally surrender it all to him. I had to, because otherwise it was too much for me.
Yeah.
Way too much for me. So
I'm sure.
Whatever happens, that's him. We'll
well,
all
girlfriend.
sleep together.
Yes, I'm excited because I know from this we'll get some emails. And let me just tell y'all real quick, because I know Brandis and I both have to go. But we love the emails. We love the emails. Every email we get, we like sit and marvel over how God has used us, to be an influencer.
Did you see the one from Rachel?
Yes, I did. I did. That's what I'm talking about right now. God, we love that, and we can't thank you enough. And we feel equally as blessed by the opportunity to be a part of your world as you do. So just thank you from both of us. Unfortunately, I can't read the one that we just got because I don't have it in front of me, Brandis, but I definitely want to say, on behalf of both of us, we thank you so much for trusting us. You trust us.
Yes.
You trust us.
Yes, you do.
Trust us. And if you see anything from us, just know that God has been piloting this entire experience because he wants something magnificent to take place in your life, and that he's using us as vessels, for global citizenship so we can all learn where we belong and get where we belong.
Right.
So we thank you. Thanks, hubbies. And Kwaku gave me a weekend to remember, child. I love you, boo.
Oh,
yes. Go, boo. Go, boo. Y'all know, man. Yeah. What you say? What you say?
We got a baby coming.
If you don't get on my team and quit playing games. Get on my team. We are not pregnant. I repeat, we are not pregnant. For anyone who just logged on to the podcast, Sybil is not pregnant. Thank you very much. Don't be spreading no rumors, girl. Have my mama calling.
Oh, Lord.
But thank you, babe.
And thank you to Rich, who we just had such a great weekend of just absolutely pure relaxation. He looks so cute in his tux. So cute. And
what I heard was he looked so good out his tux. I mean, in his tux.
He did. And I want to thank all of our family and our friends. My mom and dad just made it here. They're in New York now, so excited to have them here. And my in-laws, I've got to give a special shout-out to my in-laws. I have some of the best in-laws or Kristen calls them in-love, on the planet. They are my amazing, incredible village for Sky, and I'm so grateful.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. We are blessed and blessed. So yes, and thank you for all of you in our Facebook group and everywhere else for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. You can visit our website at
thegreatgirlfriends.com.
Connect with us on Instagram at
thegreatgirlfriends.
On Twitter,
_greatgff.
And I think that's it. Oh, and listen on iTunes podcast, Republic Podcast, Bean, Blueberry, Stitcher, every other podcast player. We're on there. And don't forget to write us an iTunes review, y'all. We really want to get to 50 reviews. I don't know why we chose 50 as our number, but that's our number. And it's going to take all of you doing your part to share all those great emails that you send us over in the iTunes form. So thanks for sending your iTunes review in. Post your questions online. Share with your friends. Keep listening.
And keep being a great
girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandis.
And we are signing off. Peace.
Bye, girls. We love you. Bye.
Bye.